That guitar sounds magic.
Nice.
Very nice.
It does need the buffer though. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
So, what we're looking at today, it's a comment that gets, thank you for all your comments by the way, but one thing that we get asked quite a lot is about, okay, I've got a choice between, what do we got, Fender Pro Junior? Not even close?
Not even close.
Not even close.
Blues Junior.
Fender Blues Junior. Okay.
Dan has I think we should address this, because every time you make a comment on these amps, you've got no knowledge of these amps at all, have you?
At all.
Literally none.
No.
They're the most popular valve amps on the planet.
Okay.
And they have totally passed you by. Much in the way that much of the music of the Grateful Dead has also passed Dan and I by entirely. We did a show recently on filters, and everyone's like, why haven't you done anything about Jerry Garcia? I couldn't. I mean, honestly, with no offense to Dead fans, because it's awesome and people really love it, but just...
I'm not into reggae.
And in a similar fashion, Fender's most popular and highest selling amp line ever has totally passed Dan by.
I've got a 1961 AC30.
Okay, so let's just stop that conversation there. However, one thing that Dan is very familiar with is the Vox AC line of amps. And we've recently been playing AC15s and AC30s a bit more. We also play the Fender Blues Junior, which is what it is, quite a bit.
Right.
And the comment that comes up is, please can you compare the AC15 and the Blues Junior, because, they sit in a very similar price point.
They're both 15 watts?
Both 15 watts, both all valve amps, both got reverb, 1x12. They jostle for position in terms of buying decisions in many people's minds.
What's the Pro Junior?
Pro Junior is less watts.
Okay.
10 inch speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one we played at Analog Man. We need to get one of those. They are really
awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's the Blues Junior.
Blues Junior. 12 inch speaker.
Blues Junior.
Yeah.
Blues Junior. A little junior dude playing blues. He's 12 inch speaker.
And then more recently, in the last couple of years, Fender has introduced the Bassbreaker range, which, with respect to everyone at Fender, I think was mismarketed.
Okay. Because
they tried to make it this kind of aggressive, rockier sounding amp, and I think that confused a lot of people.
Right.
They're phenomenally popular. They sell really well. Really great amps. So we thought we'd chuck
Bassbreaker
15 into the mix as well.
Noel Gallagher has one of those in his rig.
Yeah.
And it runs along with his high watts and things, and it sounds amazing.
It's a cool amp, a lot of functionality. So we're going to go through them.
Can you give Noel a honk for me? I don't feel right doing it myself.
What's that?
Can you give Noel a honk?
You need to give Noel a honk. That's a honk for Noel Gallagher. Dan makes his pedal board.
I would love to get him on the show. Have a word.
Yeah. So we're gonna in as long as the time allows, not get too exhaustive about it, because that would literally take 3 weeks. You're doing this more?
It's fiddling while you're speaking. Yeah. Sorry, dude.
It's just...
I know, it's annoying.
No. It just it causes havoc with the audio.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm going through this thing at the moment where, because this guitar is so desperate... Well played, sir. Well played, sir. Because this guitar is so desperately in need of a refret, I'm
struggling.
I'm struggling, so I need to keep my hands a little bit warm. So I apologise, and I apologise to the microphones and to Logic.
Sorry to the gods of audio. Dan's going to Australia. I do as well, actually, to be fair. Dan's going to Australia in a couple of weeks, and Old Red is going in for some work.
Yep, to Mr. Johnny Kincaid.
Because you are struggling with it, aren't you?
I am really struggling with it.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling. Ever since we got back from Italy, and I had the best time with this guitar in Italy, and then got back from that, and everything went... It's like I rocked too hard with it, and basically all the frets are dead flat.
Yeah.
And whenever I pick up one of your guitars, picked up your Strat yesterday.
Yeah.
It was like, So it's going to go to Dr. Johnny.
Yeah. So just new body, new neck, new pickups.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had the same guitar for 35 years. Second neck.
Okay, so we're going to run through each of the amps. So there's a basic structure. We're going to talk about clean sounds. We're going to talk about the reverb. We're going to talk about some overdriven sounds. Then we're going to talk about some pedals. And then at the very end, we're going to ask which of the amps pairs together nicely, because that's another question we get asked a lot is, you know, I've got a Blues Junior or I've got an AC15. What other amp should I use to pair with it? The answer to that question is any amp you like.
Yep.
Because you can usually pair up pretty much any amp and they'll sound great together. But we'll do some examples with these. Beautiful. So, shall we get into it?
Yes, let's do it.
I want to start with clean sounds.
Okay.
I have got a roving camera. Beware. Which is charging and then it's not charging. So, let's start, Daniel, with the Blues Junior.
Okay.
And I shall just show you the top panel here. Oh, there's a light down there. That's going to cause a massive problem. So block off that light. Okay, here's the top panel. So, oh, there it is. Give us a blast, Dan.
Sounds ace.
So, as you can see, I'm going to shout so you can hear me. It's already starting to break up a little bit.
Yep.
But as we just discussed, Dan's Tele is one of the craziest, loudest guitars in the world ever. It does have a fat switch, which we'll get to in a minute. That's the basic clean sound. So Dan, if you wouldn't mind, just play a couple chords and switch through the amps going from the Blues Junior through the Vox to the other amp, the Bassbreaker, and I will follow along and show you the top panels while we do that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, really interesting. I've set the Bassbreaker to gainy because the Tele's killing it already. I set it up for the Gretsch. So I'm going to do something straight away. I'm going to knock back to the low gain range. So if you could play again, please. Feels like we've almost exhausted the
headroom.
The Bassbreaker's headroom already.
Is that master on full?
No, it's not. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put this camera down because, well, you know. So we won't get every single bit of tweaking with the amp, but I'm going to turn the master up full and the gain down.
Okay.
And it's got 3
input levels.
Gain levels.
Yep.
So I'm just going to stay on the low one, turn the master up full and the gain down as low. Let's see how much headroom we can get out of it.
Okay.
Switch up to the medium gain level.
Okay.
So yeah, we do need to be in that low gain range. If you could switch between all 3 again, just so I can balance up the volumes again. Okay.
That's done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still right on the edge though.
Right.
And okay, so here's a slight tangent for you. Single coil pickups, Fender Tele, you know, considered by some people as a weak sounding guitar.
And that was all neck pickup then?
Wasn't even the bridge pickup.
Wasn't even the bridge pickup. That was all done on the neck pickup.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go to the bridge pickup of a humbucker in this. Plus, it's got a buffer preamp after the with the 321.
Yeah.
Because without it, it sounds like this. With it, it sounds like this. I find that these pickups are fairly dark sounding, so they really benefit from that little bit of preamp at the front there. So here's Dan's guitar. Here's how hard Dan's bridge pickup is hitting the Fender Bassbreaker.
Bridge.
Yeah.
I still really like the sound of that guitar.
It's astonishing.
It's low sevens, DC resistance. It's not
absolutely unbelievable. It's a frequency thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you think this is pretty
exactly
dull
it's
sounding, but what that affords you, obviously, if your guitar isn't quite as aggressive as that, is much more clean headroom in the amp. But right from the off, shows you that if you're a belter and you've got high output, or at least a guitar that pushes an amp into overdrive easily, 15 watts, which is what all three of these amps are, isn't giving you a huge amount of headroom.
No.
At all.
And this is, I wouldn't say this is bedroom level, but it's not loud.
It's not gig
at
level.
All. It's not gig level, no way.
Depending on what band you're playing, of course. But yeah, so. For me, there's not much to choose between them in the clean sounds.
Yeah, the Vox. What's really interesting about the Vox is, and that's the greenback in there.
Yes, it is.
But it still has that chime in the top end, especially with that thing.
Yeah.
It just adds this bit of sizzle.
Let's have a look at the EQ, because at this point you might be saying, well, the differences are only EQ. Why don't you mess with the EQ? So I'm just going to go through and listen to each amp. Dan, if you could play again, or just listen to each amp, and I'll just manipulate the EQ to show you the sort of range that's on offer in each of these amps. Yeah, pretty wide range of EQ.
Hmm.
I don't know what you were hearing. To me, out and out bottom end, the Blues Junior has the least.
Yes.
Anything else?
The mid-range in the Blues Junior is really interesting.
Yep.
That glassy top end from the Vox is really nice. The bottom end in the Bassbreaker. Bit
more of it there.
Yeah.
Wonder why that is.
Interestingly enough, like the cabinet on the AC15 is at least 50% again bigger than the other two. So
in theory,
it should have more bottom end, but it doesn't, because the way that the design, you know, I'm assuming
they're
all
EL84s.
EL84s.
Yeah. They share that in common. They all use 2 EL84 output tubes.
Yeah. So one thing that the Vox does is it shelves off a whole bunch of bottom end.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, because of the amount of bottom end that is in that, I'm wondering if that's the reason that it has less headroom.
Yeah, because it's putting more of its power into bottom end, so it's compressing more.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to what we might call light overdrive sounds from the amps themselves.
Okay.
Shall we?
Let's
so we'll set them up little gainier. I'm going to move to the mid gain section on the Bassbreaker. Give us a swingy swang, and I'll plug in the Strat as well after this. But off you go, Daniel.
Like that.
What do you want more or less of?
Less reverb. Yeah, that reverb it just sounds a little bit artificial to me.
It's digital. We'll come on to the reverbs in a sec.
Right. I'm loving that. That sound is awesome.
Right, AC15.
Oh, baby. So it doesn't break up anywhere near as smoothly.
No middle control either.
Right. So, but that's a classic AC30 driving tone.
Come on then, Blues Junior.
So it's much more compressed type tone.
Really interesting EQ sections. Bass 12, so all the way up. Middle, it's kind of way below half, and treble way below half as well.
Right.
Be interesting just to compare that with the Strat, just for a second. My Strat's currently tuned to E flat.
Yeah, it is.
Or this Strat is anyway.
Quick tangent.
Yeah.
You've done something to that Strat that has brought it to life.
Yes, I took. Oh, there's still a bit of masking tape on the top. Is it masking tape? Maybe it's probably T-cut actually. This is a Mexican-made Fender 60s reverse headstock Strat. It was the kind of precursor to the Hendrix Strat. Wasn't a Hendrix Strat. It had a very, very high gloss finish to the neck,
Right.
fingerboard, and the back of the neck.
Right.
And as regular viewers will know, I can't play gloss finished maple boards. Just I can't bend.
Is it tacky? What is it?
Yeah, my fingers just stick on the maple.
Okay.
On the
gloss.
lacquer actually,
Right.
not on. I say lacquer on the polyester or polyurethane, whatever it is they use. I think it's probably polyester. On the fingerboards, because it's on the fingerboards as well as the back of the neck on maple neck Fenders.
Yes.
Grown up playing rosewood Strats, so it's just bare wood, and for whatever reason, maybe it's because I have a heavy, there's a lot of my finger in touch with the fingerboard.
Mm-hmm.
Bad technique. I just can't play fully finished maple boards.
Right.
So I took it off. Well, I took most of it off to the back and the front, made it kind of satiny. Not all the way down. I did actually go through a couple of places on the fingerboard here, which
Right.
I'm not too worried about.
But it's brought that guitar to life.
It's certainly much more playable for
It's
me.
amazing.
Yeah, much better. Anyway, blah blah blah. Tangent. Okay, so shall we start with the? Oh yeah, thanks.
Right.
Start with the Bassbreaker again. I'll go on the bridge pickup. So already not pushing it anywhere near.
But it's still, there's an edge to that now.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Okay, so. Oh yeah, this is that bottom end. Yeah, so way too much bottom end because it's really hurting it on the neck pickup there.
Right.
Still,
Yeah.
bridge pickup. Final bit, let's make this quick because we've got some pedals to go through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get the maximum gain in each of the amps. Just to see before we move on to pedals. So that would be fat switch on in the Blues Junior. Not going to show you the panels. Volume, input volume at 10, fat switch on. Same in the AC15, input volume all the way up to 10. And we're going to go to the high gain structure and maximum gain in the Bassbreaker. Daniel.
Okay, with the Junior?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
What's interesting?
That sort of sound, it's fun.
None of the amps holds onto it properly, does it?
Just doesn't.
Yeah.
So
If you're talking about traditional high gain, tight, you know, like on the edge, completely ragged,
this thing,
maybe.
when you plugged, I never forget the first time you plugged that in and you cranked that. It was like, okay, that's what that does.
Yeah, that's
right?
a proper high gain sound in a small
designed
amp.
to sound like that. None of those amps have been designed
No.
to exactly as you said, to hang on to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's really messy. There's stuff flapping about everywhere. Yeah. And,
Okay.
and I felt that going, okay.
So do me a favour, switch to the Les Paul. This will be the last little amp comparison that we do here. I'm going to do the other thing now. I'm going to try and get the power sections really working. Cut back on the preamp gain a little bit.
Okay.
And just let's go for, because one of the great benefits of a small wattage valve amp is that you can get the power stage really working.
Yeah.
So let's have a go at that. Push it with some humbuckers.
Yep.
And see if we can get into some nice rock territory.
Okay.
And get the power stages of the amps working as well. I mean, the power stages are working there a bit in that last sound. That was certainly not quiet.
No.
Perhaps we should introduce the dB meter just to put some context on that. Let's see if it will stand up. I normally have a bit of comedy trying to make it stand up. It can rest on the D&M Drive. Can you see it? No, you can't. Can you see it? Not quite.
Can you see it? Yes, you can.
Not quite. Oh, this is.
Why don't you stick it over the reverb pedal?
This is always a comedy. Simon is full of good ideas and has just suggested something that will work quite nicely. Right, there we go. You can see the dB meter now. Right, Dan.
Yes,
Blues
mate.
Junior.
Blues Junior.
Is that loud enough for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me a low E chord.
Nice. Nice.
Bassbreaker. Can you just play me the bloody dB meter got stuck on the maximum pressure level there, so it wasn't changing as we were playing.
Okay.
I couldn't see it. Could you
Just
just play me a E chord on that amp?
Yep.
Okay. So
The only amp that worked for me in that context was the Blues Junior.
really,
Yeah.
for what reason?
It just, because of that mid-range, and it wasn't overly distorted, and it just sort of seemed to hang on to it a bit better.
Yeah.
I really liked the Bassbreaker in the minimum.
Took me
gain
ages
thing.
to get it because neither the medium nor the high gain setting was working at all. It was just that guitar was killing it,
Right.
even with the gain down low. So it really needed to be in the low gain setting with the
preamp turned up.
everything turned up. It was
Okay.
pretty much flat out.
Right. Yeah, and the AC30, it's cool, but the way that it breaks up, it just feels a bit messy. Whereas the Pro Junior, far out the Blues Junior.
He'll never get it. He'll literally never get it.
So the Blues Junior, specifically with this guitar, just tended to. I think for me, especially for single note lines, it worked better.
It worked better. Where I was stood, I really liked the AC30.
Okay.
But that's because I was stood right over the top. I wasn't hearing any of the front projection of the amp.
Right.
What the slightly depressing thing for anyone who owns any of these amps and doesn't have the opportunity to turn them up is that they don't start working until you get that power section going.
Yeah.
So all the perceived... It's so funny with the Blues Junior. I nearly said Pro Junior. It's so funny. It's so funny with the Blues Junior because in previous videos we've said, you know, it's got a very weird bass response where if you hit it with something like, you know, a full range booster, the bass can get flabby, and it was getting a bit flabby there on the Strat there, but even on, you know, when you hit a low note, and yet once you get into overdrive, it can be perceived to not have much bass, so it's obviously in a bit of an odd place. Where it becomes absolutely relevant is where the amp's cooking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it all sort of falls into place, it feels like. Certainly felt like with the Les Paul. I mean, that's really good classic rock tone.
Great.
And it was loud.
Yeah. I mean, that, mic in front, happy.
Okay.
The Bassbreaker for me in the clean, low gain thing, gold.
Okay.
But yeah.
Let's talk about fuzz.
Let's talk about fuzz.
Should we start with fuzz?
Let's do that.
Or should we start with boost?
Let's start with fuzz.
Let's start with fuzz. I'm not even sure we're going to do boost, actually.
Okay.
Because they've got pretty good boosted sounds in them.
Yep.
Haven't they? Maybe a bit at the end. But let's talk about fuzz.
Yep.
Let's talk about fuzz. I'm going to set them up how we had them at the beginning. Pretty much. So give us, let's set these chord tones of the amps up again, Dan, if you could just cycle through them, please. Definitely more compressed. This doesn't put it out in the same way.
No,
that might be a speaker anomaly. I've set them up so they've got a little bit of hair in the front.
Okay.
Because Fuzz wants to see an amp that's slightly overdriving, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like an amp that's working a little bit.
Yeah. Which would you say they all are?
Yeah. They're on that edge.
Cool. Come on then.
There you go.
So what we got? This is the Thorpe Veteran, which is...
It's the new silicon version of the Veteran.
Yeah.
And it has this really ace fuzz circuit, and it has a range master.
Treble booster.
Treble
okay.
booster in there as
We're going to
well.
use both or just one?
We'll just use the fuzz for now.
Okay. all changes beyond the way they take gain. Fuzz is always the most challenging, isn't it?
Yep.
To pair with any amp.
Yep.
And really starts to tell you what you got going on in your preamp.
Mm.
Fascinating.
But
really brought those mids you like in the Fender, just brought them absolutely to the fore. Sent the top of the Vox into a place that was not my taste at all.
Right.
So that kind of very glassy, Rory Gallagher-y,
Okay.
not my thing.
Right.
And then that sounded more like a rockier amp with the Veteran. Kind of, it seemed to bash it a bit harder.
Yeah, because you can. The great thing about the Veteran is you've got this smooth control. Sort of, you can tame the top end, or can make it that bit more aggressive, which that definitely needs. So I had to turn the smooth all the way off for that.
Yeah.
And then it was hitting it. It didn't sound as compressed, but as into the AC15, I had to turn the smooth nearly all the way up to get rid of a bit of that harshness. But in the Blues Junior, come on,
get in.
It just sat in a really nice spot. Yeah, great.
Very nice. I'm just going to make sure we're still recording because I changed the screen. Yeah, we are. Happy days. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the audio back because of the different volumes as well. Because obviously, with the different levels of headroom and the different speakers in the amps, the way pedals hit it will be quite different. Okay, common or garden overdrive, such as the D&M Drive.
Okay.
Shall we leave the amps set as they are?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they are breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So, okay. So, D&M Drive into the Bassbreaker.
Quite a lot of gain on there. It's pushing the amp. It's still keeping the highs of the Tele together.
Yep.
Nice. So what have you got there? You've got the drive first into the boost. So the boost is just giving a bit of... If you just play the drive a sec.
So literally,
not doing much.
It's shaping the mids a little bit. So there's no gain on there. A little bit of top end, but it's just adding a little bit more mid in there. I love that setting. It
does sound really cool.
Yes,
it's just good all round rock.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah.
So we've chosen this because it's a set up like this.
Chosen this because it's our signature pedal.
But it's got that. It doesn't really mess with the EQ of the amplifier.
Yeah.
It just all the bottom, all the top is there, and just with the boost in, I'm just adding a tiny bit more mids. But yeah.
And what sort of single note response are you getting from that? the same settings?
That is exactly the same. You haven't touched a thing.
The same settings.
Exactly the same.
Goodbye, Strat. Interesting. So funny.
Sorry, dude. Give me 2 seconds.
Something important?
No. I'm just. I put it on. Stop. Go away.
It's so fun. So each time we switch through, every time I'm finding the Bassbreaker squashier.
Yes.
It's
all that bottom end.
Doesn't seem to take high level input as well, and it's compressing all the way through the amp. Feels like it. I wonder if we could take some of that out with maybe using
with a booster.
Boost to drop some of the bottom end.
Okay. So there you go. This is the Bassbreaker. See that sound? It's a warm.
Yeah, just to complete that. Somebody might say, well, why don't you just turn the master up and the gain down? I can tell you that the master is 3/4 around and the gain is on the lowest gain setting possible, a little over half. So it's in a low gain state. The bass is just below middle, the middle's just after middle, and the treble is cranked a little bit. So it's not as absolutely as open as it could be, but it's pretty open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And in isolation,
that's a pretty cool sound.
It's a great sound. It's warm. It just doesn't bark.
Just compare that to the AC15 a sec.
It's much bigger. It's
nowhere near the headroom, does it?
Nowhere near the headroom. It's sitting in a very different spot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's boost into that. And this is the RC booster. Actually, the Scott Henderson RC booster.
Nice. Is it?
It's giving it a
Tidying it up a bit.
little bit more poke in the top end and taking away a bit of that bass. So
Look, it sounds ace though.
that sounds great. Let's just try that with the.
Pretty loud. I mean, it was, I think the peak was 107 dB there, which is really, really, really loud. I mean, that's loud enough. You could gig with that just about, probably, depending on what kind of band you're playing.
Yeah, it didn't. The Blues Junior has this mids, the upper mids thing that just sounds ace. And that's just with the bass and treble flat.
Yeah.
They're just pushing it a bit more.
I
I think
the most pleasing sound to me there was the Bassbreaker, but it's not. That's not the one that's going to get you heard in a band.
no.
That is the one that's going to get you heard in a band.
Yep.
It does make a lot of things about the Blues Junior and the Hot Rod Deluxe fall into place,
Yes, it
about the
does.
way they're EQ'd, because they can sound a bit harsh and a bit boxy on their own.
Right.
But in that band situation, it's cut.
Very interesting.
Okay, we've been going for about an hour, so we need to perhaps gallop towards some sort of closing remarks and final comparisons. We were just going to talk about the reverbs.
Okay.
Let's have a quick listen to the reverbs in each of the amps. Now, the AC15 and the Blues Junior both have spring reverbs.
Right.
I strongly doubt that they are valve driven. They're
Yes.
probably IC driven, I would have thought, aren't they?
I don't know.
They probably are. I'm pretty sure it is in the Blues Junior, and I couldn't say for sure in the AC15. Please check on the relevant websites.
But there's spring. There's tanks in there.
There's spring tanks in the bottom of that,
Right.
yeah. The Bassbreaker has
a digital reverb.
reverb. For anyone who didn't understand that, I apologise. A reverb circuit can be driven and recovered using a vacuum tube, a valve, or it can be driven and recovered using a bit of electronic circuitry, some kind of
Gain amplifying, whatever it is.
I see, yep, chip kind of thing. Right, so let's start here.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think that reverb control is set?
In hell. It's
Out of 10.
okay.
Out on the
Sorry.
clock face. On a clock face.
4.5.
That's not a clock face.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 11.
9 o'clock.
No way.
Yeah, here's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I can't, yeah.
All right, stick some delay on and play something chordal and play the kind of music that Joe Bonamassa hates. Hang on. And I'm going to leave the
Hang on. He likes the Edge. Apparently, the Edge is the only guy allowed to do that.
Come on.
Yeah, all right.
AC15?
Yep. That's by itself.
I was so enchanted by your playing, I was experimenting with lens flare effects off the GoPro. And the final sound, final sound, back to the AC15.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna, the one thing that the AC15 has that none of the other amps have is tremolo.
Oh yes, beautiful.
Please be switched on. Okay, thoughts on reverb?
The Blues Junior and the Vox Reverb sounds absolutely beautiful.
You're not digging the digital?
Not. And it's not. I tell you what. As soon as I put the delay on and you made that atmospheric sort of thing,
Yeah,
great.
that's why I did it, because I think it works in that modern definition of reverb in the way that people use modern reverb pedals. Works good for that, I think.
Yep.
Because it's that big kind of, hauly, swelly thing.
Is it just because I'm so used to turning on a reverb on an amplifier and just getting that spring thing?
Yeah.
So
it's different.
It is different, but you're right.
Yeah.
I'll put the delay on. It was fine.
I have to say, I agree. For traditional spring reverb, the Fender and the Vox, definitely. Which kind of leads us to the final thing. One thing we get asked a lot is, what amp should I pair with my blah blah blah? And as we said at the top of this video, you can pair any amp with any amp really. Just in terms of balancing them up in terms of gain and all the rest of it, it actually doesn't matter that much. I don't think.
No.
Because what happens when you pair two amps together, what I find anyway, is you just get this bottom end coupling thing that you just seem to get so much more bottom. Just play the guitar. Just play the guitar. I'm gonna leave the AC15 with the tremolo and the reverb on.
Okay.
So that we get a wet dry thing going on.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Vox and the Bassbreaker on. I'm gonna start with the Vox turned down to 0.
Okay. That is amazing.
Overdrive.
Just amazing.
Let's have some overdrive. So can we try the AC15 and the Blues Junior together?
The AC15 and the Blues Junior, yes, no problem. The AC15 and Swan, so we're going to go. So big. It's so big and detailed.
What did you prefer?
Yeah, those two.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because from where I was standing, the sort of woolliness and the warmness of the Bassbreaker was felt warmer and nicer.
Mm.
But I think the more
It's visceral.
articulate, visceral, all of those things that we like is those 2 amps, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay,
There is an alternative though.
just buy a bigger amp?
No.
Oh, all 3. Okay.
Go on then.
Giving you a new dent. Okay.
Totally worth it. There's the answer, people.
There's the answer,
There's the
people.
answer.
You need 2 of these amps, not one of them.
All 3
It
of them.
absolutely blooming changes everything, doesn't it? I don't know what it is about the bottom end. Now, you might say, oh, yeah, but you're playing at really loud volumes. It happens at low volume as well.
Yeah.
That just bigness that you get from using more than 1 amp together. Interesting.
So good.
So good. Yeah, so for anyone out there wondering,
Whether you should get which one you should get, just get all of them.
or actually probably more relevant, if you've got one of these amps and you're thinking about getting something else as an upgrade, or a bigger, louder, more louder amp, more louder amp. What's that? Is that a boiler? I haven't heard that in months.
But darling, it's cold outside.
Yeah, so if you were thinking about an upgrade to an AC15 or a Blues Junior in terms of more wattage or a bigger amp, and you're going to drop 1,200 quid, £1,500, $2,000, $4,000. Amps get very expensive very quickly.
Yep.
Just get one of the others and run them together.
It is a killer sound. The combination of it. Okay, for me, the AC30, the AC15, and the Blues Junior together, it's focused and it's tight. But when you hear the Bassbreaker in isolation, it's this big thing. So you could literally get either of the other two, whether you want to add this top end sparkle, or just a bit of more of a throaty push, depending on maybe depending on your main guitar.
I think any combination of those 2 amps, works together.
Yeah,
because you can
awesome.
use. Yeah, great. I think we've said enough. We've said enough.
Brilliant.
That was blooming interesting.
That was fantastic.
You got to take one only. Which one are you taking?
AC15.
Me too. And fix the mid-range thing with pedals.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It'd be great.
It would.
massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. Also to our preferred retailers in Australia.
I knew he was going to go Australia first. I knew it. Pedal Empire in Brisbane, Queensland.
Well done. In the USA.
Riff City Guitar of New Hope, Minnesota is where their new store is. Please go down there and say hi to those guys.
Yes, and in the UK and Europe and beyond.
Anderton's Music of Guildford, Surrey. Please go and pay them a visit as well.
Fabulous. I do like your new shirt you're wearing, Mick.
Isn't it nice? It sort of tones well with my shoes. I don't know if you noticed, I was doing this yesterday. Camo, pinky red, pink.
The details are lost on me.
I've been reading Vogue, you see. Apparently it's a fashion magazine that all the girls read.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Anyway, we've got some great new baseball tees in the store, in this colour and also in a grey with a kind of stealthy logo for anyone who doesn't like really obvious logos on things.
I was noodling again, I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much.
I pop a vein like a semi-pro blues guitar player.
Cheers guys, thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.